was like a slow open. You ready to piss the internet off?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I did make a note in my pre-game, I don't know, podcast here, just that every year someone does get upset or angry, which is obviously not the point of this. It's definitely
No,
not the intent.
it's all fun and games, honestly.
Yeah, I would encourage people to disagree with this as much as you want. That's obviously your opinion, which these are obviously just our opinions. We're not the people that are actually putting pen to paper and punching in the numbers. So
Yeah, there's a lot of our own personal bias that comes out a little bit when we do these predictions. Well, real quick, this is the Edge Out Podcast, everyone. We're the two hosts, Michael Fantini and
Evan Worrell.
Comment, like, subscribe. Please let us know. This is the one episode. I know we say this every video we make. We actually enjoy reading the comments of this one more than any other thing we do. Just
For sure.
reading your all's what you agree with, what you disagree with, what you think we're nuts about, what you think we're super spot on with. Are we smart? Are we dumb? We love the comments for this video. We do 2 of them a year, DCI and WGI. Please let us know because it's fun. It's fun. We'll respond to as many of them as we can. All that good stuff. So we're doing our predictions today, if you haven't figured that out from the title or the intro stuff. And what I was going to say before the intro there, it's just obviously our personal biases are going to come out a little bit in terms of what our ears and eyes gravitate more towards naturally as listeners and viewers. And so if we also have a call to make that's very close, maybe our personal bias will come out and say, you know what? These two groups are really close. I don't know what's going to happen. I like Group A more than Group B. I want Group A to win for whatever reason. I'm going to pick that group over this other group. So
Plus, and I've said this before, when we watch the shows, we're definitely not watching it under the guise of each individual caption. We're just watching
exactly
a show. And so how those captions break down definitely will affect placements and definitely change probably the things that we get wrong just because, we're not watching it from a visual effect standpoint the whole time.
It's a great thing to bring up there because there's a reason they have different judges for different subcaptions because it's really hard for one person to watch every element of a show, visual effect, general, like music, how clean are they playing, how clean's the drill. It's just hard for one person to process all those categories. So that's why they have all the subcaption judges to try to have, look, you're going to focus on music. You're going to focus on visual execute, that kind of thing. So you got to give us a little bit of a grain of salt there because we don't have time to watch every show 6 times each, one through each subcaption lens. It's just never going to happen. All right.
Yeah.
I got nothing else. Let's knock this out. All right. Spreadsheet is up. Scroll down a little bit. Just like every year, every video of this, we start from the bottom, work our way to the top. Which column is who? So second column is me, first column's Evan, and then obviously when things play out next week, we will fill in the actual placements that ended up happening, put it all over our Instagram so you can laugh at us or give us thumbs up, all that good stuff. All right, who do you have in last?
I put Instinct Percussion on my 31st spot. Someone unfortunately has to be, and yeah, that's just where I started.
That is exactly who I have in last as well. And honestly, though, what I will say, whatever, just Control V this thing.
Yeah, Control V.
Well, I'm afraid of messing up the formatting by pasting more. All right, I'm done nerding out. All right, so.
Well, then you can just hit Control Z and undo it.
You see what I put up with, everybody? You see what I deal with for trying to get it right? All right, so.
Here we go.
I will point out 28, 29, 30, and 31. I put all those groups really close together in my brain. The order, I think I got the last 4 correct in my eyes. The order could be who knows. Who knows what's going to happen in the subcaption. So 30, who you got?
Resistance.
Yep. Same.
Also, some of these groups, I didn't even find a video of Resistance. I was on YouTube trying to update my search to the most recent or just Resistance Percussion or Resistance Indoor. When you YouTube Resistance Indoor, a bunch of strength training equipment comes up on YouTube. So
I know the same thing happened to me. I agree. That's also a battle we fight, especially with the groups that are in the bottom half typically or traditionally in independent world. There's just less stuff to watch. There's less videos of them out there. There's less recent videos, so it makes it even tougher to throw darts at a dartboard here. So 29.
29, Flux Indoor.
Okay, that's a big difference that we have.
Also, Mike and I, just as a reminder, we don't share these beforehand at all.
I have not talked to him. He has not talked to me about where we have put any of these groups, because spoiler, I have Flux higher than 29th. My 29th place group is Rise.
Fair. Yeah. I have Rise in 28th.
Okay. Perfect. We'll go ahead and fill that in. My 28 is Impact.
27, I have Audio Theater.
That's exactly who my 27th is. Apologies for the keyboard clicks. It's unavoidable. Probably is avoidable, but we're sound too stupid. So I
and then I'll go.
Well,
I'm gonna go ahead and give
fill
my
in
next
a couple
one
more.
Here. Yeah, I'll just do my next one here. I put
Okay.
Impact at 26th.
Okay, and then I have Blue Knights at 26, so I'll fill that in too. Blue Knights was one that I waffled with a lot down the stretch. Like this morning, I moved a couple groups around this morning because I did a ton of homework finishing this up last night. And we are doing this also, we didn't point this out, we're doing this a little earlier this year, before this weekend, because Evan's out of town next week, so we have to. So we will not have taken into account anything that happens this weekend. Because at SCPA stuff going on. So great assault there.
We won't also know the judging panels, which, in a perfect world, would that matter? No, but in our world, maybe a hair it does. So
we know certain judges have certain tendencies, certain things they gravitate. Like we said, we all have our lenses we view the shows through.
I probably would if I was judging.
I 100% would. 100% would. All right, so do you want to talk about anything? Where did I have Flux? Oh, well, this will be good. Let me do 25 real quick, because that's where I have Flux, and we can talk about why we might have that difference.
Okay.
Flux. Who was your 25?
Thesis.
Okay, that's a big difference.
Okay.
And I was very on the fence about where I put Thesis. We'll get there eventually.
Yeah, that's fine. This order, I watched all these shows. I feel like Impact is another group. They got reclassified this year, I think is the correct term, from Open up to World. They've been very competitive in Open class consistently for past years, similar to Mayraki. Kind of mirrors Mayraki in a lot of what they do, as far as like the shows are, I don't want to say like on the nose, but easily digestible, and like it's easy to get, and they do a lot of things really well. But I don't think that they obviously planned the show for world class this year. Yeah. So I do think that there's just a little bit of design elements that if they were going into this year knowing we're going to be in world class, they probably would have I think we can enhance this a little bit more. That
is one thing about getting reclassified, as they say, mid-season. Like, you designed a show to try to win Open class, and the criteria and the level of content, everything, it's different if you're competing in Open versus World. So it is a hurdle you have to overcome the year you get reclassified. So I get that.
And if you're going to world class, you may have decided hey, we got to take a little bit more risks and hope that these risks come to fruition to move up the ladder a little bit.
Yeah, 100%. So I could see Impact being higher than 28th, above Audio Theater. Blue Knights was one. I'll talk about them for a second, and then we'll do Flux. I almost had them up in the 23, 24 range. There wasn't a lot of videos. To their credit, they put their own stuff out. I have to give credit where credit is due. There was a Blue Knights, a BKPE, YouTube channel or something, and they put their own show runs out, so good for them. Thank you for all of us. So there actually is content, and it was weird. So I actually moved them down 2 spots this morning. That was one of the groups that I shifted down because, excuse me, that was gross. The reason I did it, there's a couple videos from some show where they're playing warm-ups on stands, and I'm like, okay. Sometimes I try to gauge what's their sound quality like, what's the blend, the balance. It can kind of be an indicator of how well they're going to drum on the move, and it sounded pretty good. I was like, okay. And then I moved them up a couple spots and above a few groups that didn't have quite the sound quality that I would want to hear from a group almost pushing into semifinals. And then I watched a couple runs on the floor, and I was like, this does not even sound like the same group playing. I don't know if it's just result of bad recording, bad positioning for the person recording it, but it was notably worse on the floor on the move, from the sound quality, from all the stuff on the stands and exercises and the approach to the drum. And I was like, I was buying what they were selling on the exercises. But once they got on the floor, I was like,
I didn't watch any of the warm-up stuff. I did find a show, I think it's from their state championships performance from like the last couple weeks. I didn't watch that. And I have them considerably higher than you. I have them definitely higher than you, obviously. And I'll explain that when we get there, but
okay.
It's fine.
So Flux, we're like 4 places off here. I don't think Flux's show's great. I thought the battery sounds like they play pretty well. Maybe I'm just nuts.
Yeah, I mean, that could be one where it's just like, looking at it now, of course I looked at it and I feel like I was just like glazing over at one point, like, oh my gosh.
Dude, it's hard. I had to step away. I had to come back, like isolate.
I mean, looking at it, I could see them over both the groups that I have above them, Rise and Audio Theater. I don't know, man. I feel like what I have for the groups that don't make semis, I'm pretty confident about. The order, not very confident about.
Yeah. It's so tough for the groups that don't make semis. All right, let's keep. We'll wait till I get to my thesis placement, and then we'll talk about that one. So who do you have in 24th?
You want to let's just fill in the rest too.
Okay.
For 24th, I have Infinity 2.
Okay. I think this is the most different we've been thus far into this than we have in a while. I have Red Wave in 24.
I have Red Wave in 23rd.
Okay. 23, I have MBI.
Oh, we're definitely far off on that one. I have Blue Knights in 22nd.
Okay. 22nd, I have Strike.
And 21st, I have Vigilantes.
Okay, we're way off on this. This is the most different we've been in a long time.
I've
got Infinity 2 in 21st.
Another disclaimer, like each year I do what I think. I try to lean a little bit more towards like what I think is actually going to happen in reality. But this year I did try to make a list that what I felt like I thought it should be. Okay. Not just
so you let a little more of your personal desires and wants and thoughts invade. Okay.
Not that I'm saying that I hope X group does
poorly
or great, but just like, what I feel like it should be.
See, I was math nerding this. I did top 14 was really easy for me, and then I math nerded everything else. I was like, all right, so Dark Sky and Thesis were literally neck and neck last weekend at prelims, and then I think this group's here. I don't know where this. I was like looking at what the most recent number they got at a regional and trying to figure out like 2 weeks have passed. I was doing all kinds of predictive things of like at least it made sense in my brain. I could be completely wrong on all this. So,
yeah, we both could. We both could be nowhere near right.
So Red Wave, we have about the same. I kind of use Red Wave as a benchmark in this like non-semis or above groups because they weren't that far behind. I forget who not POW at last weekend. I have to go back.
Meraki, Dark Sky,
Thesis,
because
it went Meraki, Dark Sky, Thesis, Red Wave, and then Flux was below Red Wave. And so my thought process was, they're not that far behind Meraki, who I have much higher on the list. So they're probably going to be close to semis, and then I can use that as a benchmark. I literally kept a Red Wave video pulled up in a tab, and then I was like, all right, compare this group to Red Wave. Do I think they're noticeably better? Do I think they're noticeably worse? And I kind of use that as a benchmark because we had a very recent score from them stacked up against Dark Sky, Thesis, Meraki, all the Cali groups, which helped a lot. So,
and I fully recognize too that my order, like somebody could easily be in the comments like, well, this group just beat this group. And I did look at that, but I was trying to weigh like, how do I think they're going to finish? And also, I'm not going to lie, a lot of kind of what I used was watching shows and looking at what I thought was maybe the worst part of the show or the least produced or eyesore of the show.
See, I was looking for good stuff.
Like,
I was looking for
what. It's like, what could a judge get stuck on? Like, oh, this moment is not. It's not quite there. Like, I could see a judge just talking about this for like get stuck on it. Because sometimes in the middle of shows, the quote unquote ballad you could be like, ooh, this is
slow, meandering.
this is not what we wanted. This is not what we probably envisioned here.
That's interesting because sounds like we took kind of opposite approaches this year. Because when I was watching groups that I hadn't seen a lot of, I was looking for reasons to move them up in the rankings. I was like, give me a clean phrase. Give me like a really nice blended roll or something. Or who knows?
See, Mike, I try to give groups all the credit and then take it away. You're just trying. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm doing a comparative analysis here, Evan. A comparative analysis. All right. So you got Vigilantes in 21. I'm like notably higher than that. So why? Why
some
not
of the
in
groups
semis?
that I put outside of semis are because I felt like they had some show design issues that were going to be like
that makes sense.
The GE or the effect was going to be like, this is going to hurt you.
Makes sense. Perfect sense.
Because a lot of these groups do play well, and some of them start really strong, and then the shows kind of like start to bleed out towards.
See, that's what I'm afraid of. That I did. I leaned on just like, what's your sound quality like? Like, how clean are your triplet rolls? Like, I leaned way too hard into my wheelhouse of what I specialize in and my ears are trained to listen to. So I'm like, all right, well, that was a good triplet roll there. I'm going to move you up. Like, you'll play some good rolls. So,
but none of what I'm saying is going to necessarily mean anything in reality.
So Infinity 2 is and we'll talk about Strike and MBI once we get to semis where you have them. Infinity 2, I just looked at, they'd been finishing comparatively to other stuff, and then I think they have more content of what they're playing. I'd almost argue their book's a little too hard potentially for what the talent of the ensemble looks like, how their hands move, the maturity of the members. Like, they might be trying to do too much. So who knows? You could be right. I could see them. I mean, I had them in 20th at one point when I was putting these together. I was like, I could see it. Like, they're playing a lot of stuff, and so they weren't super far behind Group X at the Southeast Regional. I forget who it was I compared them to. But
right.
So, yeah.
Dude, this is about to get, all right. I feel like we're about to get wild.
It is. All right, 20th. Who you got? Semifinals. First semifinalist.
Connexus.
Okay. I have them in semis as well. I'm just going to fill them in. Oh, I can't spell. Hold on. My microphone's in the way. Bear with me, everybody. All right. So I have Connexus in 18th.
All right.
And that one's a complete dart throw, but we'll get to that in a minute. 20th, I have Redline. I think Redline plays really freaking well this year.
That is why I have them where I have them, which is not 19th. But I have Dark Sky 19th.
Okay. Yeah, I think Redline, I could see Redline getting higher than 20th. But I was like, you know what? I was a little more realistic. I was like, I think they're going to make semis this year. I think it's going to happen. I have Dark Sky in 17th. Who you got? My 19 is Thesis. And my logic here was, I do think Thesis plays some phrases well. I think their show, actually, I like it more than Dark Skies, if I'm being totally honest, just objectively. And when you look at last weekend in California, they were literally 0.025 apart.
Yeah.
So competitively on the sheets, I was like, I think Dark Sky is a semifinalist. If I think Dark Sky is a semifinalist, Thesis is going to be a semifinalist.
I was also like, I may have like gone a little bit more down the rabbit hole. I was also trying to look at where people perform for prelims and just be like,
see, I didn't look at the performance order. I didn't look at
if you go on here and you're in between like XYZ group, like that could be a benefactor for you because you're going to look better, or it could be a detractor because it's going to make you like look worse. So I was trying to like do a lot of mental gymnastics. In 18th place, I have Strike.
Okay.
I think they check a lot of boxes.
I
do think, like we said earlier in the year, that they're playing way better than they did last year.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So 17th place.
Well, hold on one second. So I've got Strike in 22nd, 4 or 5 places lower than you. They're in that category. Like, honestly, if you go from 15th to probably 23rd, they're all, in my eyes, very close.
Yeah.
They're all very close in the product they're putting out and the way they're playing and what they're playing. At a point, I just had to try to do my best here. I'm fairly confident at this point, but I could easily see Strike making semifinals. I could see Redline getting 23rd. Who knows? It's wild. All right, 17th, who you got?
MBI, which means
Wow.
I had Redline in 16th. I almost had him in
Wow.
final.
So you had more balls with yours than I did, because I was like, I wanted to move Redline up above Thesis, but I'm like, I don't. Looking at the numbers Redline's been getting at shows, realistically speaking, I was like, I just don't think it's going to happen.
And I do realize that Connexus did just beat Redline at a WGI regional without the
Yep.
penalty, but like I felt like their Connexus show at that time was a little more put together. It was more produced. I like you said earlier, I think Redline plays really well.
They have a good sound. They have a really good sound.
So
Um,
yeah,
I
MBI.
Connexus.
Or go ahead and put your 16th in there.
Oh, okay. Mine's Vigilantes.
Okay, yeah. So Vigilantes also plays great too. So I can see
That's why I put them there. I was like, they drum better than Dark Sky. They drum better than Connexus. They drum better than Thesis. They may not drum better than Redline, in my opinion. I need to like watch them back to back later. But there's not a lot of Vigilantes content. Was part of the problem with them.
Yeah.
So it was hard to get a good gauge. The lot video I watched was a month ago, and there were some good rolls in that lot video. And I was like, okay, they can drum again like we expect. So I'm riding with that.
my MBI bump had to do with they play well. I felt like the front was strong for them.
Yes, I would agree.
With my knowledge. In the show, like the over the bar line, I was like, this is catchy, it's clever, it's on the nose but layered at the same time. And I felt like the show quality maintained itself really well throughout.
Mhm.
Like there wasn't a huge drop off like towards the end, or like, we got to this part of the show and we just,
I mentioned I lowered MBI. Like it's this range is what changed this morning. Like literally on the spot this morning. The reason I lowered MBI, they would play some phrases and I'm like, that's really good. And then they would completely have themselves the very next phrase and I'm like, I don't know who's going to show up on prelims day. I have no idea which drum line's going to show up. And so again, it's only a couple videos. That could have just been a weird video and a couple bad reps. That's the risk we take when we try to live on the internet with this stuff. But it's the only feasible way for us to do this. So the only way they could change that is if every single group in World put a video out of them drumming every weekend after rehearsal weekends or the show lot they had that weekend. It's the only way it would fix this. I think groups should do that, but selfishly and practically for the group itself.
Right.
Let's see. So Connexus, I want to say something about them. I had absolutely no clue where to put them. So I looked at numbers they'd scored at the Mid-East Regional. I was like, I watched Dark Sky, Thesis, and them like in 3 tabs in my browser, back to back to back. And I was like, I feel like they're on this kind of level playing wise in my mind. I'm not a huge fan of the show. I think visually it kind of just meanders around a lot. That could be too bold of a statement. I don't know. Not my forte, the visual category. But I just decided, I was like, you know what? I think they probably play a little better than Thesis, and the show's probably a little better than Thesis's maybe. I'm just going to sandwich them between the two. We're going to put them in 18th, and hopefully I'm in the ballpark with the way things shake out. The reason Dark Sky, I mentioned earlier I liked Thesis's show more than Dark Sky's. I have Dark Sky ahead because I think Dark Sky plays better, more consistently. I think the drumline in the front play better, more consistently. And then Vigilantes, I was confident in 16th. Because we've seen them in the past where they play well and the show's like kind of just the drums in the gym show. And it's there, it happens, it doesn't do a whole lot for you, but they drum really well. And the years that's happened, they're close to making finals. One year, I think they made finals, and the show.
Yeah, I think that was 2 years ago, 2023. I think.
Yeah, so that's
they had
kind
the
of
show
what
where
I
like
banked
it was like the Adam Eve show or something, or the guy came out of the tree or something.
Yeah, I remember that. Okay,
I think this is a good point too to be like, if you're in an ensemble and you feel like we've put you lower than you hope to finish, great. You should feel like that and
use it as fuel to push you through finals week.
Yeah, and I don't think, and I'll speak for both of us, like none of these rankings I think are crapping on anything. Like there is a ton of excellent stuff happening in WGI World Class, like a ton of really good playing.
For sure.
But we got to make the list. Well, we choose to make the list.
So. Someone's got to be 16th, someone's got to be 21st, and someone's got to be 31st. We say this every year, we don't envy the judges. This year, more than most, I do not envy the judges. because usually we have, like, we talk about our top 6 at the top of world. We talk about, like, the next tier of, like, 7 through 11's pretty close. There's 2 buckets of groups, probably 15th through about 23rd, and then 24 through 31. All those groups are very comparable to each other this year. And that's a large, like, especially that middle group, like 15th through 23rd. They all have pros, they all have cons. They're all doing some things well. They all have weaknesses. I don't think there's a ton of differentiation on the aggregate between 15th to 23rd place. I do not envy judges trying to rank those groups in prelims.
Yeah, I would say the margins and the spreads are going to be slim.
Very, very thin. Okay, let's get into finals. 15th. We probably have the same one here, but we'll see.
I think if you've listened to our reaction videos, a lot of people could probably get this one, but I put Mayraki.
Mm-hmm.
And I think my reasoning behind this is they just don't do things to hurt themselves.
Yes. Bingo. Could not agree with that statement more. They do what they need to do. They execute it well. They're not reinventing the wheel, like we said in the reaction video that just came out last week. By the time you're watching this, it'll be last week. I had to. I think I called you. The only thing I told you about when I was putting my predictions together was, dude, I know who my top 14 are. 15th,
yeah.
I literally have a gap, and then I'm ranking everyone else 16th down, and Mayraki ended up at the top of that list in 16, and I was like, well, I guess I'm putting Mayraki in finals. And just I was waiting for a group to, like, force me to do it, and then nobody did, so I was like, I'm going to give it to consistency. I'm going to give it to the group that's doing what they need to.
I'm going to let you go first for 14th.
I have Matrix.
I've been going first. You have what?
Matrix.
Okay. All right. Let's go. I have Monarch in 14th.
Oof. That's lower than I had them. I gave Monarch a little bit of the benefit of the doubt because of the history of the ensemble the past few years, and there's talk about nothing being out there for that group. Like, maybe they're good, maybe they're bad. I have no clue.
Things are gonna get shaken up. So
I think so. All right, 13.
Matrix.
Okay. I have Cap City.
And now I'm really starting to bleed into my decisions of who plays well.
Yep. I wanted to move Cap City up.
And a marriage of show design. So
I wanted to move Cap City. Excuse me. I wanted to move Cap City up, but I was looking for reasons to put them ahead of who's above them, and I'm like, I'd watch Cap City play and watch part of their show, and then I'd watch who I had above. I was like, I can't do it.
Okay.
I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
12.
Rhythmic Force.
That's who I have in 12th as well. So I think they're going to be higher than that in the music caption, though.
They play really. I texted you, like, we don't share what our thing is, but our predictions are. But I did text Mike. I was like, man, Rhythmic Force plays like a top 10 group, at least for the battery.
100%. I fully agree with that statement. The sound quality is good. Like, the writing is top tier. Like, the writing is just like top 10 of world class for the battery, at least. And the front to me, my ears, seems impressive too. All right, let's see. Want to talk about any of this? Can we talk about Matrix real quick?
Let's do the 11th, and then we'll talk about this
Okay.
this third, these 5. I have Cap City at 11.
All right, 1 second.
No.
All right, Cap City, you have an 11. I could see that. I'm afraid that I have Cap City too low. I really am. To all the Cap City members and staff.
Wise,
nope, that's not
you
where
just
I put that. Yep, that's
I
not
think
where
that they have a really strong show.
Yes.
And I think that to this date, they definitely have room to play better. So they've been finishing well, but definitely have room to play better. So
I could fully see Cap City getting 11th and Monarch getting 13th or 14th. I could see it. And, like, I just put Monarch in 11th because, I mean, they've been top 8 like the last 3 years, and
I know
a lot of this could just be we haven't seen anything. There's one video we got sent to us from like a run through they did from a week or two ago, like from the end of rehearsal or something, and it was hard to tell. I was like, it sounds like the snare drums have brand new top heads on them. Some things sound really good when they're playing. Some it's hard to tell from the angle. I do not know why nobody has filmed them, because people have filmed Rhythmic Force and they're at the same shows as Rhythmic Force. They're at the same shows that Vigilante's at. Like, I don't know if they're hiding on purpose. I don't know if it's just happenstance that nobody's filmed them. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I put them in 11th as like a safe bet. I was like, they're probably going to be top 12 at least. They're usually having solid shows. They play well. Taha knows how to teach kids to drum together. Ben Piles has been helping design and write top 10 shows for a while for that group. I just have a hard time believing it. So,
yeah, I agree. I mean, we'll see.
Yep, time will tell. You really went rogue on this one. You just didn't care at all.
I was just like, let's burn it down. Like,
I went halfway. I was halfway what I think should happen, and half, in my opinion, what I think should happen. And then I went halfway, like, my ego got in the way of, like, I want to be realistic here because I want to get as many of these right or close to right as I can, like, just competitively
yeah,
speaking.
I'm usually like that, but this time I was just like, screw it.
It'll be fun. It'll make it more fun that we're so different as the results come in. So I'm looking forward to it. All right.
10th place.
The final boss?
The final boss. Oh my gosh. Pal, yeah. The litmus test. Just put Bowser.
Yep, that's happening. Bowser. Nailed it. I watched them, and then I watched Cap City. I watched them, and then I watched Matrix. I watched them, and I watched Rhythmic Force. I was like, it's kind of like a higher degree of what we consider Meraki is. They're just doing what they need to, and they play clean, and the show makes sense from A to B. Like, it's just a well-designed indoor show that's not doing anything crazy, but it's also not hurting itself. It's
hard to find things to pick on.
Yeah, they're just like 5 places ahead of Meraki doing the same thing. And I credit Meraki maybe for taking a page out of POW's playbook in what they're trying to do their first season in World. So that's hilarious that we both had them in 10th.
All right, you go. I'll let you go first for 9.
I have Atlanta Quest in 9th.
Okay. I have United.
Ooh. Okay. We'll talk in a minute. 8th, I have GMU.
I have Atlanta Quest.
Okay. And then 7th, I have United.
And I have GMU.
All right. So we'll start with GMU and United. I could see GMU and United getting 11th and 12th. I don't know. I like, just because
I can't, but I'll let you go first.
Atlanta Quest plays better than most groups in Independent World. Like, they just do.
They play better than those other 2 groups we're talking about.
GMU and United?
Yeah.
I would 100% agree with that. United got like I know that there was nobody at the show to compare them to, but like they got like a 92.5 like last weekend. So I put Matrix where I put them last year in my predictions out of cynicism, and I'm putting United in 7th out of cynicism because I had GMU in 7th first. And I was like, I don't know if GMU is going to play clean enough to do it. I think in the effect captions, GMU is going to do really well.
Yeah.
They're going to do really well. But I don't know from some videos I've seen, I don't know if they're going to play well enough to finish 7th place.
That's why I don't think that they could finish, in my opinion, 10th or 11th, because the effect captions are going to be
too high.
There's not going to be, I feel like the judges aren't going to have a choice but to credit them GE-wise.
Yeah.
Just because of the way the show's designed. And, I saw the most recent video. They've made some really smart changes as far as like, I don't want to say watering parts, but adjusting parts, especially the ghost roll, the snare feature. They're cleaning up a lot. Mm-hmm. And they're usually not cleaning up at this point. So that's why I have it a little bit higher. Because they usually like
plateau.
No offense, but they don't really get clean at the end. Yeah. But I feel like they're at the point with the show design that they're able to start really locking in on the clarity. And I think that's going to carry them. In Atlanta Quest, I feel like they just play so well. Mm-hmm. Again, the show it makes sense. It's very on the nose. So I don't really see a lot of detractors from that. And the United thing, I put them a little bit below because I feel like the show just kind of like is almost too even keeled. Mm-hmm. Like you don't really get I fully agree. The finals night juice that you want.
My United placement is cynicism. I just think they're going to finish 7th. I just think it's going to happen. They play well, to their credit. They really do. I've seen some subs videos of the quad line, the snare line. Like, they can drum. Nobody can listen to those videos and deny they can play well. So I just think they'll get 7th. All right, top 6. The strong finish here. Do you want to go first? I feel like these 6 are going to be the same for both of us. So 6th, who you got?
6th place. I have Music City Mystique.
Oh, we're not the same. Okay. You think Infinity is going to do it? I'm assuming Infinity is 5th. Bueller?
Sorry. I was reading a text.
You're good.
5th place, I have Infinity. Yep.
Yeah, okay. So we just have those 2 switched. So, again, I don't think Infinity is going to play well enough. I think Mystique is going to play too clean. I think their shows are close. I think Infinity had a better show. If Mystique had this show this year and Infinity had the show they had last year this year, I think Infinity would beat them. I would agree with you. I just don't think Infinity shows there like it was last year, and I think Mystique still plays really well. Mystique still knows how to clean. They still know how to work their butts off and play well.
Let's see here.
Broken City in 4th?
Nope.
Whoa.
I put Pulse in 4th.
Okay. Wow, you just went off the deep end.
I think that there's I put Broken City in 3rd. I think that there's a chance that Broken City catches and passes them.
Could be. How close were they last weekend?
I don't know.
I know Pulse was close to RCC. I know Pulse was close to RCC. They were not that far away.
Yeah.
So.
I just think that Broken City has a better vehicle as far as like being able to generate effect.
Common theme. I think Pulse plays better, and I went with Clarity.
And I think that if Broken City does play well, like up to the standards, then I could just see them popping them finals night.
I could see it too. I agree with you on the show. I just, again, like I did with Vigilantes, like I did with Atlanta Quest, I think Pulse is just going to be cleaner. That's going to carry him above Broken City.
That's fair. That's very fair.
All right, so my top 2, I'll go first. I'm pretty sure we have the same top 2 here in the same order, but I don't know. We're off on the rest of 3 through 6. What was unexpected. I've got RCC in 2nd and Rhythm X in 1st. And is that the same? Okay.
Yeah.
Let me fill those in, and then we'll talk about these top 2 because I think it's a coin flip, if I'm being totally honest.
I think it'll depend. It'll depend on a few things. I do think that Rhythm X plays more and better. Actually, I don't think that they play more. I know they play more.
We checked. They do play more than RCC.
They do play more. And I just think that it's just a little. I think it's a little bit better. And I think that the music effect caption is gonna bode well for Rhythm X because it has a little bit more peaks and valleys.
Yeah, I can see it.
Than RCC's. RCC's vibe is killer. It's phenomenal.
Fully agree. Great show.
But it does for me get a little bit like flatlined.
Stale.
Like it kind of carries the same vibe the whole time.
In my eyes, they both have strengths and weaknesses where they outdo each other in certain categories. From a design standpoint, from a playing standpoint, different subsections of the ensemble are better than it's really balanced between the 2 for me. I fully said I want Rhythm X to win for obvious reasons, and they're so close. I'm just gonna say X is gonna win just for the home team's sake. I was like I think it's gonna happen.
I could see a scenario where X carries like music effect and music, and RCC carries vis effect, and then like somebody else entirely wins visual.
Mm-hmm.
So like, or like the captions kind of get broken up a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's part of my reasoning behind that, and also, for sure, definitely a little bit of bias. But I try to set that aside, and I was like, you know what? I just think this is the way it is this year from my list.
Dude, I cannot wait now. I was already excited for finals weekend. Now that we are so different on these, because I bet if we went back and looked at past seasons, we're usually in the ballpark of each other. Maybe there's 1 or 2 groups that we're off on, but this is way different, more different than I thought it was going to be. You called some shots. I think I was safer with mine, a little more logical, and you were more like, I don't care. I think this should happen. This is what I think is going to happen. So
Chaos.
we'll see. Chaos, pure chaos. Oh, we never really talked about Matrix. Do you want to?
Sure. I mean, we can drop back down. I mean, I think for me, the show.
I want to bring up the comment that our friend sent us about them. I
I
won't say
remember.
who. I won't say
I'm
who.
not sure what you're talking about, but I mean,
their
I think
show.
that I don't remember what comment, so you can go ahead and say it before I start talking, I guess.
A good friend of ours who knows what he's talking about. He will remain unnamed. Basically, was just like, people can say what they want about Matrix, but they do their own thing, and no matter what you want to say, there's a lot of effect baked into what they do. They double down on the effect captions, and that's why it confuses everybody, because they're never the best playing group. They're never the cleanest group. Like, I mean, I think finals last year, they got like 15th or 14th in music performance. But he's like,
maybe, yeah.
But he was like, the show is effective. No matter what you want to say about it, whether it's your cup of tea, he's like, they do different stuff. The stuff they do is done well and highly produced. And there is effect baked into the show design, no matter what your personal feelings are about it.
Yeah, you're talking about like cynicism with United and some groups. I think some of it for me is like maybe a detractive bias, because like watching it so much year after year, it's like it feels very similar to what they do past years, which you could say that for a lot of groups. But I don't know. I feel like I don't want to call them gimmicks, but the things start to just like, okay, we have seen this, but like, is this innovative? Is it creative? Like the lights, the sand, I think is a interesting risk for them.
Yeah.
With just how the tarp could get slippery. I don't know. Maybe they have like a controlled way to navigate that.
Something, the type of footwear they have is, I don't know. Who knows how it works, but you're right about that.
The sand being on there, I was like, ooh, it'd be like a minefield.
Yep.
So, and I think a lot of groups are just kind of outplaying them right now. So that was part of my placement. So
no, I agree. That's why, I mean, I have them lower than you. So I fully agree. I think they're just getting outplayed. They're going to get outplayed. They're not going to be as clean, but I do have to, in full transparency, acknowledge they have effective things in their show. By the way the sheets are set up, they have effect in their show in a big way almost every year, whether I like it or not. So I just wanted to put that out there to their credit. But yeah, we both. I mean, Cap City beat them at the Mideast Regional, so I mean, we both have Cap City above them. I think Rhythmic Force plays enough better than them that even if they're higher in the effect captions, I think Rhythmic Force will beat them. I don't think they're better than Bowser. I just don't. So, all right.
Fair enough.
I think that's enough of us blabbing. This is one of our longer predictions episodes we've ever done. Rhythm X RCC, top 2. Stay tuned, folks. We will see how this shakes out. We will have egg on our face when we're very wrong, or we will fist pump when we get some of this stuff right. So let us know what you think in the comments. What did we get super wrong? Who are we? I'm not even going to say it. Who did we miss? That's how I'll say it. Who is better than we think they are? Other than that, comment, like, subscribe. Man, it's like a script that plays in my mind at this point. Age.podcast.com, Age.fundamentals, get a shirt, drum every day. I played to Puttitas today, actually. I said I've been doing one a day because I want to drum with Chris Gary and Justin Lewis in my Airbnb when I go to finals. So I've been drumming every day. Puttitas was today. I don't know what I'll do tomorrow. Facebook, Instagram, Patreon, join button. And we will see everybody at this point after finals. Have a good finals week if you're competing, or if you're a fan, have some fun, watch. We'll see everybody in the next one.
Peace.